So let me give you one more example from the Old Testament, and that is Saul. We read this in 1 Samuel in chapter 10. When Samuel's sons failed, they said, "Give us a king. We don't want any more of these judges." So God said, "Okay, let them have a king. They have rejected me as king. Let them have their own king." And they took lots. There were 12 tribes. They took lots, then different families, and they took lots because they believed in the Old Testament that if you take a lot, throw the lot, and ultimately God will pick out the right person. And they threw the lots for the whole tribe of Israel, and they picked out one man's name, Saul, who was the son of Kish from the tribe of Benjamin. In 1 Samuel 10, they looked for Saul. Hey, verse 21, middle of verse 21. Saul was chosen, and listen to this. They announced the name, Saul, son of Kish, has been chosen as king. Come forward. And with this crowd of people, and it says he could not be found. Can you imagine what a humble man he was? 1 Samuel 10:21. Hey, I don't want to be king. I'm just an ordinary person. I can't do this. And it says in verse 22, he was hiding inside some baggage. Some people's luggage was there. He was hiding under the suitcases. Can you imagine? The man who was chosen to be king, he didn't want to be king and he was hiding himself. I mean, so different from today when people say, if you want to make you a ruler or an elder, they rush forward. Sure, of course, I think I'm worthy for it. They wanted to make Jesus king and he ran away. Saul was like that. But the same Saul, one day, disobeyed God. And we read also that he offered up a sacrifice as if he was a priest. You know, in the olden days, the king's job was one, the priest's job was another. A king could never be a priest and a priest could never be a king. And there was a reason for it. The first king priest was to be Jesus Christ, nobody else. The Lord says that you are a king after the order of Melchizedek, a king and a priest. But in the nation of Israel, Melchizedek was outside Israel. In the nation of Israel, nobody was allowed to be a king and a priest. That was reserved for Christ. But Saul, we read in 1 Samuel 15, he went and offered the sacrifice. It's 1 Samuel 13. He offered the sacrifice when God told him not to do it. And Samuel came just in time after that and said, "Why have you done this? You've committed a terrible sin in doing this." This is the same man who once upon a time did not even want to be a king. But here we read that 1 Samuel chapter 13, verse 11, Samuel said, "What have you done? You're not supposed to offer the peace offering." It says in verse 9, Saul offered it. And the Lord said, and Samuel said to Saul, "Because you've done this, the Lord has taken away," verse 13, "the kingdom from you." Verse 14, "Your kingdom will not endure. You were called to be a king and you tried to be a priest as well." The same man who did not want to be a king. It's easy for God to bless someone, difficult for them to remain humble once they are blessed.